Boom, punch myself in the face.
I
Okay,
know, right? It's
so
early for that. Yeah. So, I mean,
wait,
I think the
you know
biggest
what, one
thing.
thing? I'm sorry. Before I
What?
flip it over, I just want to remind everyone up front, and I should have done this right at the beginning. Oh, you know what?
What?
Is this bummer. Our
Mhm.
YouTube channel, there's something wrong with the YouTube connection. There, it finally connected to YouTube. Not sure why the YouTube connection took so long. We're over the internet. Because I couldn't even.
User.
I wanted to chat this out. Remember, next Tuesday we've got the trading summit at IG. There is
Mhm.
the link. In fact, I'm going to chat it out from both channels so that people can see the link. Be sure to please register. Come learn about how to trade the FX markets. I put that link in there. Um, yeah, if you're not registered, come join. Brian will be speaking at it, so certainly want to catch that. So apologies there. Wanted to pop that in there. Let's go ahead and jump over and talk about the oil inventories, and then what to expect around the Fed today later this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, for an oil, for a market that's out of, we're out of supply, or I don't know. I don't know how we keep getting a supply. It's one of those things that it's funny that oil is such a big deal, and it's quietly they're just building and building and building and building, and I think this is for. Hold on, from yesterday. Let's see. According to API, that would be what? One, two, three, four, five. 5 out of 6 weeks we've built supply inside of oil. Coming from again for the summer travel months. Once we hit the end of September, it's been nothing but big amounts of supply. So it's definitely setting up very interesting. I mean, OPEC has a meeting tomorrow. I'm sure that they're going to talk about it. They know what the U.S. number looks like. Remember, OPEC is not just a U.S. OPEC has nothing to do with the United States, but obviously when they look at the U.S. market, we're some of the largest consumers out there. So it's a market that we look out for. I would say, yesterday we were sitting where the yellow dot was, and we mentioned how, typically when we have that big retracement back and forth again, we've seen kind of specific patterns where we have a market down and then retracement, and then we have an up scenario. Or yesterday we had the down up in just European session, and we had the down up in the U.S. session as well, and it kind of went right up to where we thought the sellers were going to be. Now, we did mention that 82.71 was an interesting level. Buyers had been down here already in the past and done pretty good job of kind of maintaining, and it did. It held. It came through the next time. It based, and then again there was your Harry Potter setup right here. It didn't actually complete. It made about 2/3 of the way through, and then once the Europeans, and again in the overnight it went up. European market stepped in. It's been nothing but straight down since that time. So, at this point, obviously the Harry Potter goes right there, and you guys can see that it is well beyond and past. Question is, where do we stop?
Right.
So I would say, we know the Europeans stepped in right. I just want to make sure we stay consistent with withdrawing these until 8:30 right there. There is our European session market. So it's one of those directions that it's markedly down, right? It only is down. So the question is, do we find an area of buyers in here, and do we shoot this sideways, or do we shoot it back up again? Looking to the left, we know we have buyers here. And I know this is crazy. We're talking about oil going up because there's such big supply, but remember, the expectation now is there's going to be a huge miss to the top side. We could have another scenario like we saw right here, where it was expected to be higher and it wasn't. Okay, so remember the API number and the EIA number, while technically they're supposed to be about the same, it doesn't necessarily always work out that way. So again, with the market going straight down, question is now, will everybody see this and say, oh, I'm getting short before this number? I know it's going to be bad, or even if it comes in bad, does this turn and reverse right back up again? Is kind of, I think, the big question that will be on everybody's mind. And again, there's some buyers sitting a little bit lower. I think we need to figure out what the opening print looks like. But again, this release comes out at 10:30 today. We have plenty of time for that first hour and a half to see if we can come down and start forming a base. If we can get a base and start pulling back again, that would give us a defined level of risk to be able to take something long off of this one. If not, if it continues to fall today,
Look out
um,
below. We
yeah,
got another
I was going
dollar
to
to
say,
go.
I mean, we have levels down here into the 81. I mean, the 80, 70, actually 80, 50, we could even really get down to. If we bring this down to like the really last levels of testing. Yeah, 80, about $1 lower than what we are right now. That would be a huge move. European session down to there would be about a $2 move. Not that it can't do that, but I'll tell you, OPEC is not going to be happy about that one. And if that's the case, if we go down another dollar today, I can guarantee OPEC tomorrow will say, we're seeing, demand staying the same. We're not going to change anything with the production.
Right.
Write it down right now. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah. So so we do have the 10:30 report.
Mhm.
What should people be doing just to kind of get ready for that
Yeah,
10:30 report?
yeah, I would say drop it down to the lower time frames. The biggest question is again, what are we going to do with the open? Is really kind of what the retail traders looking at. They can see that it's down. It's down 1.62% already, and really most of that is all since the European session. Again, we had that Harry Potter, the confirmed down with the 82.71. That would be the next level that I would really be somewhat confident of additional shorts coming in at. There's a couple small levels in here, but nothing, nothing spectacular that, seeing some basing in here around the 80 to 50-ish range. But what I would do is I drop down to the 30s, look to see if we have a level of basing forming. And again, those levels will probably be over here between 81.60 and 81.40. And again, if we just really just sandbag in the next, half hour, dropping all the way down into this 80 level. And then drop it down to the 5 minutes and look to see if we have what we call the price stabilization, where price just stops. It just stops and goes sideways for a couple of minutes. You can even drop down to the 1 minute in that last 10:20 to 10:30 range. And again, a lot of times that will tell you, because again, it's the news is out there. People do know the number,
Right.
right? There is this, this report does somewhat get leaked. It's not the cleanest of numbers. It's not like the first time anybody really knows the number is right when and again, sometimes there's even delays with it. So that's going to be the best thing. See what the retail trader does at the open. They're going to see this 1.65 and say, oh my God, it's straight down. I need to short this. Look, API number says this, and that's even if they're looking at the API. All these people that are lumping in the short on that one, that's probably where you're going to see the reversal. And actually, let me see. Let's check. Oops. Come on. I hate when it doesn't want to work.
I tell you,
Give it
we're
to
having
me.
all sorts of technology problems today.
I
It's
know.
like, what
Well,
is going on this Wednesday? There's something in the air.
yeah, consumer sentiment right now on Daily FX is 55% of clients are net short. So it's not out of the range yet. But
Yeah, it's in
again,
no man's land. Yeah.
it's kind of that riddle. And again, U.S. crude and Brent crude are both aimed down. So yeah, both of them showing -2.
All right. So we got that. That's at 10:30 this morning. So that certainly gives you something to
Yeah.
look at. We do have oil moving this morning lower. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, as an extension of yesterday with the large supply number that came in, coming in a couple million barrels above expectations. Let's move ahead to the Fed at 2 and then their press conference at
Yeah.
2:30. I think the best place to really look in what where people might want to take a peek is in the equity markets, just to see how the
Yeah.
stock market might react. Right now, the markets are the Dow's
Sounds right.
slightly negative. Everything else is pretty flat.
Yeah, I think it's doing a pullback. I mean, right now you can see even the currency realm, everybody is watching FOMC. Doesn't necessarily matter. Um, I mean, there's nothing, and you can see we just had a huge non-farm employment change number expected to be 400. They adjusted last time down a little bit. Let's see, it was an adjustment of about 40,000 down, but they missed it by about 170,000 to the top side. So again, still 130,000 higher than what we were before. That's a big number.
Yeah.
Yet the market's response right now is really like, nothing.
Nothing.
Bringing it down to a 15-minute because that's what we look at. You can see the area up top. Right, this level of basing again, we've bounced off of it. The 46.24. It's been hit a few times, but it's been a pretty decent level. And right now, in looking at this on a purely technical basis, assuming that there was no FOMC, I'm gonna steal this one. You can see we had this level of basing, and we've hit it, and we've hit it again, and we've hit it again, and we've hit it again. And whoops, that's not what I wanted to move. I wanted to move this guy. You can see after that, we had kind of a big, strong push. So the question is price going to come all the way back down to this level down here at 46.06? I would say, if we stay negative, Tay, before that, I think because the number is so big, we're seeing this kind of negative push to the downside because it's hard. Remember, Yellen's last comment was like, everything's looking good. Inflation for 2 months. It'll be transitory. Right. We'll see prices return somewhat back to normal next fall, which again makes no sense in the first place. But she also said, her one reason why we need to be cautious is because the labor market is tight. She's always going back to the labor market, talking about the labor market. It's really, really hard to say that the labor market is a problem when, again, the change was
Positive,
571,000 new
right?
jobs. That's just that's the ADP number.
So
They
it's
do a
gonna
lot of payroll.
let's.
So
I'm kind of curious what Powell will say, and I
yeah,
kind of he's very measured in what he does. He wants to broadcast everything he's going to do, which I think the markets tend to like. I don't think he's not. I'm going to surprise you with something. Although some people are calling for you need to surprise the markets and make something happen. But I think
me.
yeah, right. You want to see that happen. I think there's a lot, but
I
other
think they
people
need to
just
do
don't
it.
want to
I
see
think
that type of
inflation's out of
disruption
control.
in the markets. They want to
Yeah,
broadcast what they're going to do, and then they're going to do it in a very measured, methodical approach.
yeah.
So, are they going too
I mean,
quickly? Are
remember
they
too.
going too slowly? They're trying to balance that line. You feel they're going too slow.
Remember, his job is not to prop up the stock market. His job is to
Yes,
control the economy. And one of his mandates is not the stock market. His
yes,
mandate is inflation, which is out of control. Everybody agrees about it. And again, some of the biggest names on Wall Street, I'll take Wall Street any day over a politician.
yeah,
Reason why is because Wall Street has their feelers and a lot more things, and they're in it to make a living. Al doesn't get paid differently one way. He doesn't get a bonus based off of what inflation is. So understand the motivation is slightly different between those two people. And again,
yeah,
you never want to get between Wall Street and their money. It is what it is, guys. So looking at this right now, I'll tell you right now, the way that this is looking, it's set up more for a negative. You may say that's such a great number. Why is ES going down? NQ is trying its best to get to that 16,000, but it also looks pretty shaky. Although I would say it's probably the best of the group. YM, why is YM tanking? It's already going down, right?
it's the one
And then
leading things
Russell's the same
lower.
thing. Why is Russell dropping from that same level up top? Remember, with the news this good, it's very, very hard to make excuses of why taper doesn't start now and why we don't start raising interest rates. Everybody's called for it. Now, where we could see some up potential today, particularly around FOMC, is the market going to be disappointed? We saw it on Monday night with the Aussie. They wanted more, right?
Yeah,
Everybody expects that they're going to taper right now, but God knows what figure they're going to look at and say, hey, you know what? Inflation, it wasn't as big as before. See, it's transitory. We don't need to do anything. It would be too risky. Because again, this is where politics gets back into it as well. Today, yesterday was election day. For the side that's currently in power, it wasn't the best day. They have 1 year before the next midterm election. If you raise interest rates now and then crash the economy and throw us into a recession, also not good. And remember, politics is now creeping its way into the Fed also. So it's kind of one of those things. They could say a lot today. What I would say as far as how to trade this one, again, do your regular normal opening, drop down to your 15 minutes. Again, I would say most things are going to probably stay negative. Or at least look for areas of buyers. I would say in YM, probably this 35,800. NQ, again, is somewhat, you could draw it and say, hey, listen, we're an up channel. And I would agree with that, but I would watch out for that 16,000. And at ES, I
yeah.
would say ES is also at risk to continue falling. Again, use prudent risk management, position size yourself correctly, and but what I would say is make sure your positions are protected or completely closed down before 2 o'clock today.
Because
Um,
you don't
there's
know
a lot of
what's gonna
expectation
come out
around
of it,
it.
and we
Yeah,
don't know
there's a
how
lot
people
of
are going to react.
expectations around it,
Yeah.
and it could go sideways very, very fast.
It
Again,
the,
I feel that the market's. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I know. The market's definitely. I mean, we're at all-time highs, and I think people are going to be in a risk-off situation where they
Yeah,
just want to wait and see.
yeah.
And that's. I mean, think about how you feel. Like, all right, I'm
Mm,
doing really, really well. I've got all this money. I don't know what's going to happen. There's this uncertainty about what they're going to do. Going
yeah.
to a risk-off situation just to stand on the sidelines. I think there's people that will do that. The interesting
Mm.
thing is we're still in the backdrop of an earnings season where earnings have just been blockbuster.
Right.
This is that
But remember though, earnings are in the past. We're
yeah.
looking to see what's going forward. And again, one of the reasons oil is now down past 2%, it's down to 2.13. One of the other reasons why oil is dropping is because if we're going to start heading into a recession and the markets are going to start tanking because of tapering and
There's going to
controlling
be less
interest,
demand.
that
Yeah,
lowers demand as well for oil. And that could be another reason, a hidden area where we're seeing oil continue to drive lower. And even gold is going down. Gold is down 0.5% already today, too. I mean, here's gold's reaction to amazing employment. It's like, wait, why is it going down? Because again, it's too good of a number. Everybody sees too good of a number, and they're like, "Oh, they're going to be forced. They're going to be forced to do something." I'm telling you,
yeah.
Jamie Dimon in a couple months, we're going to be like, he's going to be like, "I told you so." Yet again, just listen to
So
me. Um, So
we got
yep.
some action in the market. Definitely some price action to look forward to. With that, if you got any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can catch Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. And the high level, what we're looking at today, one, the oil inventory report, massive surplus yesterday, seeing oil trade down. We've got the official industry inventory report today at 10:30 Eastern. So be ready for that number, see how that might move oil. And then, of course, it's Fed Day. Everyone's on pause. Everyone across most of the markets, everyone's sort of just waiting to see what's the Fed going to say about tapering, and are they going to give any indication on timing of interest rate hikes? A lot to look forward to today. Brian and I will catch you again tomorrow morning. Good luck in the markets, everyone. Thanks for joining.